Hello guys, welcome to this video. I'm Emmanuel from Goodisoft. In this video, we'll be learning about Node.js. So please don't forget to like this video, comment on the comment section, and hit on the bell icon to subscribe to this channel. So in this video, we'll be learning about Node.js. By the end of this video, you'll be able to know how Node.js works, all about Node.js, and how it works. But before we go into talking about Node.js, we need to know what a website is all about and how it works. So briefly, let's talk about a website. So a website is a digital place or store on the internet where you can go to find information, watch videos, shop for things, or connect with other people. It is made up of web pages which are like different sections of a book, and you can move around by clicking on links or buttons. So websites are created and stored on special computers called servers, and when you type a website address like www.goodisoft.com into your internet browser, it fetches and displays the information stored on the website server, allowing you to interact and explore the content it offers. So this is just a brief overview of what a website is. So for us to continue this course, you need to understand and know how it works. A website is divided or is sectioned in two sides. We have the front end and the back end. The front end is the client side of of a website. Is simply a user interface where the user comes to interact with the server. Then the server side is the back end of the website. So now, and that's what we'll be learning in this course, and we'll be using Node.js. So but if you have not followed the course on front end, for you to successfully learn what and follow this course, you can you should go and follow the course on front end. I will drop the link on the description of this video if you have not followed the course to have basic HTML, CSS, and JavaScript knowledge. You should you can go and watch it. So we'll continue. So talking about server-side programming, we'll be using Node.js. We have other programming languages like Python, C Sharp, C++, Rust, Ruby, Kotlin, PHP, and all that. So but we'll be using Node.js. Why do we choose Node.js? Node.js goal is to provide an easy way to build scalable networks and programs. So why we choose Node.js? Node.js is Node.js is efficient in handling asynchronous operations and handling and enabling high performance and scalability in application. What do I mean by this? Asynchronous operations. It allows your code to run simultaneously to await for each other, one after the other. That alone enables high performance and scalability in most applications. So Node.js is a unified language JavaScript. It's used for both server-side and client-side programming, and it simplifies development workflows. So and Node.js is cross-platform. It runs on Windows, Linux, and MacBook and Mac. So it's easy to get started and you like it. So let's move on. We'll be in this course we'll be using some technologies and tools. So in this course, if you have other IDE, other IDE stands for Integrated Development Environment. So if you have other IDEs on your system, so you can make use of them. So but in this course, I will be using VS Code, Visual Studio Code for my coding. So I will be using technology like Node.js. If you don't have Node.js on your system, you don't need to fear. In this I will show you how to install Node.js and where to install it. So we'll be making use of MongoDB. MongoDB is the database technology that we'll be using. So but you don't need it now. In this beginning of this video, we'll be making use of MongoDB Compass. Later on in this video, you'll be able to know what MongoDB Compass is all about and MongoDB. So but for now, what you need is an IDE and Node.js for us to kickstart on this course. So what and what will you achieve by the end of this video? We'll be able to have basic informational website and e-commerce site and event-based booking system. So by the end of this video, we'll be able to achieve all this. So kickstart. Let's kickstart. We need to What is server and client? So in this video, you'll be hearing server, client side and all that. So we need to have a brief overview. A server, what makes up a server? Because when we were talking about what a website is, we made mention that if you click on a website link address, it go to the server and fetch and display information stored on the server. A server is made up of a client web browser and app logic. That app logic is your backend code. Is your backend code. Let's So a server is made up of your client web browser and your app logic. Your client web browser is just like is they have many web browsers like Mozilla Firefox, Chrome, Google Chrome, Edge and so on. So your client web browser and your app logic makes up a server. So you interact to a server from your client web browser, from your web browser. So we'll be talking about app logic. Your app logic is the is your back end code that that interacts with the client web browser. So if you hit on, we'll be hearing us in this course, we'll be talking about request and response and all that. So if you click on a website link address, you send a request to the app logic, that's to the server. You send it. So then the app logic will now process the request. It will move down to your controller codes, do some validations and store it in the database, then some authentications, then sends back a response to your client web browser. That's why you can, for instance, a form. If you if you visit the website, they will ask you to sign up. When signing up, you give your information, your details, If you submit that form, you are sending a request to the server. The app logic takes the request and process it on the controller, on your controller codes, then validate it, then store it on the database. That's just what makes up a server. So, and later on, you see those of your information displayed on your dashboard or displayed to you. So, you you need to understand this. If we talk about request and response, you know that if a client wants to communicate to the server, it sends a request to the server. Then the server responds to the request, send a response to the request sent by the client. So so I hope and believe that we all have a better understanding of what we are talking about. So if you don't have Node.js or VS Code, Visual Studio Code installed on your system, I'm going to be showing you how to install that. So if you want to install VS Code on your system, you can just go to your desired web browser and type Studio, type Visual Studio Code. So this is the official website of Visual Studio Code. You can come here, you download for Windows. It will give you option based on the operating system you are using. You download. So if you are downloading for Mac, you download for Mac. If you are downloading for Windows, if you are using Windows, you download. If you are using Linux, you download. So this is it. So if you don't have Node.js installed on your system, me, I have Node.js installed on my system and I have Visual Studio Code, so I don't need to download it again. So if you don't have Node.js installed on your system yet, you just go to the official website of Node.js. This is the official site of Node.js. So if you come here, you see two versions of Node.js. We have recommended, okay, for most users, the LTS, and we have the current, the latest feature of Node.js. So I will advise you, you don't download this, you download this. This is the long-term support of Node.js. That's this LTS. It stands for long-term support. So you go for this one. If you just click on it, it will prompt you to save it. You save it in your in your directory where you can install it. So but I don't need to save it. I have it on my system. So but if you don't know whether you have it on your system, if you don't have it or you don't know that whether you have it, you can just open your command prompt. Just type command prompt. You open your system command prompt, search, just type node dash version. Sorry, you type node dash version. So if you see something like this, version 8.3.0, you know that node is installed on your system. But if node is not installed on your system, it will type command not recognized. So that is it. So let's get started with Node.js. So I'm going to create a folder. I will name it I will name it Node.js. So I will open this folder. You can see that this folder is empty. So I will just type cmd. I want to open this folder with Visual Studio Code. I will open this. I'll just type cmd, hit on enter, then do code space dot. I will hit on enter. So it will open Visual Studio Code for me. So this is our environment that will be working throughout this course. So now we want to set up our Node.js environment. So you see how it works. So for us to get started, so you just need to type npm init. So to init your Node project. So if you are installing Node.js on your system, Node.js come with package manager. That's Node package manager. So that's the npm. So npm just stands for Node package manager. Node package manager helps you to access all the you use the Node package manager to install all the necessary dependencies and all the necessary tools required for your Node project. So for us to get started, let's just do small thing in setting up our environment. So you do npm init, you hit on enter, and make sure you have internet connection before initiating this Node project. If you don't have internet connection, it won't work. So if you type npm init, hit on enter, you wait for the init process. So it will prompt you to type your package name. Your package name is the name of the project or the work you are doing. So you can likely change it here, or you name the folder the name of the work you're about to do. So if I don't want to change this, I'll just hit on enter. I'll hit on enter and wait for the init process. The package name, I don't want to change it. I'll hit on enter. You see the version of your application. So if you can change the version, then you hit on enter. You hit on enter, you wait for it. You hit on enter. Then you can type a description about the web, about the application you're about to build. I can just say a web application. A web application. I'll hit on enter. So this, it will prompt you to enter your entry point. Your entry point is your root file work directory. So the default one is the index.js. So I usually don't leave it like this in the index.js. So I call my own app.js. So I'll hit on enter, then test command. We don't need this for now. Git repository. If you have any Git repository for this work, you can type input the Git repository here. Then keywords, we don't need this for now. Author, we don't need this for now. License, we don't need this for now. So you click enter. So the last process will prompt you, is this okay? You click yes. Just type yes. You hit on enter. If you move back to your Visual Studio Code, you see a default package.json file created. So the node init process will create a default file, node package.json file. So here we will not be touching this folder, we will not be working on it. So every dependency that you install that we will install for this project, you'll be seeing them here. It will be entering here. So see the name of our application, you can change it, you can change the version, the description, then the main entry point. I've changed it. So here you'll be seeing all your configurations that you do. If you install any dependencies, it will appear here. So right away we'll be doing another stuff. So we need to install Express, Node Express. So we need to install Express for us to kickstart working with Node.js web framework. So Express is a Node.js framework that use to build our web applications. So you just type npm install Express. You wait for the installation to finish installing. So the installation is successful. So if you go to this package.json, you will see Express, you see the version. So that means Express is installed. So when Express is installing, so it comes with a node modules. These node modules, we are not going to enter here for now. So you just leave it, we are not going to work inside it. So you see package log.json file. These tracks where you install all your dependencies for this project. So now that's it. We need to create our root file. That's our entry point. Here is where you do all your connections, all your folder connections. You connect it to this entry point. I named that entry point in this package.json, app.js. So I will just create a file, name it app.js. I'll hit on enter. Make sure that the name of this entry point is the same with this name here. If not, it won't work. So let's get started. So for us to work with Express, so one good thing is if you are working with this, remember to be going to the documentation. So let's go to the documentation of Node.js Express. So you go to Node.js Express official site. So this is express.js. So Express is fast, unopinionated, minimalist for web framework for Node.js. So for you to successfully build a web framework in Node.js, you will make use of Express. So this is the official website of Express. So let's do something with Express. So I'll go to hello world. Let's configure and do something with. So successfully do for us to successfully work with Express in this your app.js, your entry point, you need to require Express. So for you to require Express, you need to type const express is equal to require Express. So you hit on enter, then you do. I name it. I like naming it app. I will do const app is equal to express. I will call the express function. Then I'll be I can be able to use this my express calling app. So now I'm going to define the port of this my web server now. This is our web server. So that's it. So we're going to open terminal. Terminal, I forgot. Terminal is working the same as your system CMD. So this IDE Visual Studio Code has this terminal, this command prompt now. They have it as terminal on inside this VS Code. So it allows you to work, to type your code, your command lines inside this terminal, inside your VS Code. So now we don't need to be navigating to our terminal and to our VS Code, our terminal and our VS Code. So you can actually init your project inside this. Just follow the same process inside this terminal. It will work. So let's go back to the documentation. So you define your port, we define our port. So your app port, const port is equal to 3000. So but I will change this to 9. I'll change it to 9000. I'll change it to 9000. So our port is 9000. So I will do app.get. So I want to get a page in our web browser to display just hello world. So if I do app.get, so app.get, I'll open my parentheses, then close it, side it, I'll do this dot get. So I will open my request and response. So you had us talk about request and response. So if you are hearing this, you know that request is we are handling every request that the user make on the client web browser. So the request, we get it here, because if you want to get any information or any request that the user made on the web browser, you will get it on this our server side, using request dot body request dot. So you'll be hearing us calling that. So if you want to send anything to the client web browser, we use response. That's rest. So you are not to get confused. So you open your our this our arrow function. So if I want to send anything or get anything from the to the client web browser, I'll use request, that's rec. Then if I want to send anything, I'll use response. So now aside this, we need to set our app to listen to this port. Then if it successfully listens to this port, we'll console log the information. That's exactly what they did here in the express. So documentation, we are just going to open our arrow function. We'll do app.listing app.listing. So app.listing is a built-in function in JavaScript in Node to do port listing. This app I want it to listen to this port, this port. So now then I'll open my arrow function. Then if it successfully listens to this, if it is listening, if it's connected, so write I will just console log the response. I'll say server running on port. Then I will concatenate this port on port 99,000. So that's it. So we have successfully set up our environment, our working environment. So for this Node.js Express. So for you to see what you have done on the client web, I want to send something now to the client web browser. So I will see how the this our server side now. This our Node.js Express server communicates with the client web browser. So I'm going to type res.send then hello world. So if I want to access this hello world, I will use this hey, I will use this I will just access this URL, this endpoint now using localhost plus this our port, server port, then I will access it. So what I did here, app.get forward slash then request rest is equal to rest dot send hello world. This is an HTTP method. So we have many HTTP method like get, post, put, push and all that. So we'll be using them in this course. So later on we'll talk about HTTP method. So if I want to get any page in our client web browser, so I will use get. So Express, you know that this app is equal to Express. So I will just before we can access this URL on the client web browser, we need to start this our server. Mostly if you search a website, mostly you see that they will tell you that this site can't be reached or that or all that. So what causes that? Maybe your internet connection can cause it and the server not running. But if your server is running, is you can access the the web server. So now I'm going to start this server. So for us to successfully start this server now, this is our server Node.js Express server. We need to do node, just type node, then your entry point, you hit on enter. We enter our entry point app.js, we hit enter. So if the server is running, it will console log this server running on port 9000. So you configuring this port, the port ranges from 1000 and above, 2000 and above. So is just you name your port number according to your terms. So if I go to my client web browser now, so if I go to this web browser, if I type localhost localhost 9000, I hit on enter, you get this hello world. You get this hello world. So that's it. We have successfully sent a response to our client web browser. Hope the class was interesting. So please don't forget to like this video, comment on the comment section and hit on the bell icon to subscribe to this channel. See you in the next video.